Typically, our Legislators of the Year awards are the only awards that are given out each year by MSCSA. However, due to the commitment and hard work of several other lawmakers, this year MSCSA has the privilege of honoring more than just our representatives and Senator of the Year. As Vice President Brown already pointed out, MSCSA played an integral role in passing groundbreaking textbook legislation this past session. The work on the textbook policy changes was a long and detailed process that required a lot of time and dedication from many people. In fact, at last count, we had somewhere around 50 to 70 different revisions to the legislation before the final draft was passed into law by the Minnesota House and Senate and eventually signed into law by the governor. No legislators were more instrumental in helping with this legislation than those who will be receiving our Friend of the Students Award for 2007. Representative Frank Moe and Senator Chuck Weger were the chief authors on the groundbreaking textbook legislation this past session, and were tireless advocates for the bill as it moved through the process. With extremely strong and well-funded opposition from the textbook publishers, who flew into St. Paul several times a week throughout the entire session in opposition to the legislation, it was the assistance and strength of these two legislators that helped us push the legislation through that was finally enacted into law. The work on textbooks began, however, long before this session. During the 2006 legislative session, Representative Dean Erdahl and Senator Claire Roebling recognized the issues surrounding textbook costs and worked closely with students to push for textbook reform at that time. During that session, these two legislators authored a bill that would have created a textbook advisory task force to study the issue and present the findings. While this particular bill never made it into law, the Minnesota Office of Higher Education took it upon themselves to convene the very task force that Senator Roebling and Representative Erdahl were attempting to convene. From these efforts, the Minnesota Office of Higher Education released a report on ways to reduce the cost of textbooks for students, which was a great resource for MSCSA to utilize as we moved ahead on the textbook legislation. With their assistance and hard work, we laid the groundwork for the success we saw in 2007. It's with great honor for me to present the 2007 Friend of the Student Awards to Representatives Frank Moe and Dean Erdahl, and Senators Chuck Weger and Claire Roebling. Unfortunately, Senator Roebling and Representative Erdahl weren't able to join us today due to prior commitments. But at this point in time, I'd like to have you welcome Senator Chuck Weger to receive the 2007 Friend of the Student Award.